So here we're looking at the 801. This is a dual-purpose form. It's an OSHA form and a workers' comp form. For every injury on the 300 log, there must be an accompanying 801, although not every entry on the 300 log is going to result in a claim, and likewise not every claim will result in an entry on the 300 log. So if the incident is not going to be submitted for a workers' compensation claim, you only have to fill in the top half of this form, down to about here, which does not include the signature block. An important thing to note about the 801 is that it gives you more space to provide an explanation of what happened, which is not the case with the 300 log. On the 801, you have more space to clearly describe not only what happened, but what the nature of the injury is or illness. This is where you can give more information about what the problem is and what happened, and the ramifications of what took place. Typically, the top half of this form is filled out by the worker, so the one thing an employer can do is make a copy of the top half without the worker's signature. So Oregon OSHA does allow what's called equivalent forms, so you'd still be OSHA compliant. One thing I'll mention about the 801 is that if you fill it out with an injury that takes place, and sometime later the injury turns into something more substantial, and they want to file a claim for that, you have all the information to be submitted right here. So what is an FEIN? This is a Federal Employer Identification Number, which is something the employer would fill out if there was actually going to be a claim, as this pertains to workers' compensation. If the employee is going to file a claim, they would need to enter this number. If they do not have the number available, they can contact their workers' comp insurance carrier. Let's take a moment to discuss the OSHA 300 log case number. Now, looking at the 300 log, we know that the number is assigned by the employer who is filling it out. So this is basically how we can tie this form back to the 300 log. For every 801, whether it is a claim or just a record-keeping form, it needs to be maintained for at least 5 years by the employer. The employer must provide a copy of this 801 if, for example, an employee requests it, or the representative, or if OSHA requires it. One way you can download a copy of this form is by visiting the resource page on this course. Start by clicking on the resource button. This will open up a new window where you'll find the resource page, which contains both the Word doc and a PDF. The PDF, of course, is used for printing this material out and filling it out on paper. On the other hand, the Word doc is online and fillable there, like what we're doing here in this tutorial. And that about wraps it up. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.